Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fully Engaged. This is our second interview of the night. We are a little teary already.
Yes, yeah.
It's been a great night.
And not just us, several people from the audience, too.
Yes, we just had Chris and Natalie Jones on the show. Go listen to their episode. It was fantastic if you just heard it. And this night kind of has a bit of a theme around loss and how to pick up the pieces and how to move forward in that. And this couple that we're about to introduce you to next, loss is a big part of their story. And they also have a story of so much life and love and fun and joy, and that's what we want to highlight here tonight. We have Traegan and BK White that are here with us, and where this story kind of starts, we'll talk about it in a bit. Traegan lost his first wife to cancer. If you followed her journey on social media, it was Kim Can Kick It. So a lot of people are familiar. How many are familiar with her or came here tonight with that story and what they've done? Fantastic. And basically, she shared very publicly her battle with cancer, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, and left a family, left a dad, left a daughter, and that opened the door for another amazing love story to take root, and that's what we are going to discuss tonight. We're going to talk about BK, how the two of you came into each other's life, and your story. Bree, I know already in some of the conversations you've had with these two, like, this is a powerful couple.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, what I'm really learning in my own journey is that grief looks different for all of us, and it acts in different ways. And for me, grieving my child and then having a new child and also falling in love again has been so beautiful. So I think this is a love story that's really incredible and, you know, just impactful that you can go through something so hard and then also find love in such meaningful ways.
I love that. We're going to find we have a little bit in common with this couple in some interesting ways, and all of us in the room are all connected. So please give a huge round of applause, warm welcome to the stage, BK and Traegan White. Come on up. All right. Set that guy down. All
And
right,
that's you.
come on up. How we doing, guys?
Good. Doing great.
The second interview is always kind of interesting, right? Because you watched the first one, you've now kind of been in this mode, and the whole time you're sitting there
You're
going,
a little bit more warm.
we're next, right?
Sweaty hands.
Yeah, Chris and Natalie, they're done. They're like, I'm out of the hot seat. Yeah. Oh, how we feeling?
My heart's pounding.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah. I think, though, actually, that the audience should make it feel easier in this setting. Am I crazy for thinking that?
Yeah, maybe.
They're all like, no one can relate with me here. Well, you're not just talking to a camera in an empty room. At the end of the day, you're the support, you can see it. The love, you can see it right here, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for being willing to come on the show.
Thank you.
She was the one that reached out.
Yeah, I was told.
So
I
apparently,
just felt really empowered after hearing your story and what you guys are doing before you get married. I felt like pushed, in a sense, to message you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our first guest we've had on the show that they've reached out to us. Most of them, obviously we've been introduced to someone or had a connection or we've known them, and to have someone reach out that way, and then we find out we did kind of know each other. Like 12 years ago, we had crossed paths, and we found that, and so that's kind of fun to see. And then, how hard was it to talk Traegan into doing this?
Not hard.
Okay.
I was
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I think needs to be done for us, for our relationship. We need to, because I was in the social media world a little bit, and then I kind of like went quiet. I didn't make the decision to make my life public initially, and it became that way, and I just kind of felt like I didn't want that anymore. I just wanted to be private. I wanted my life to be private, not for any particular reason, but kind of slowly just wanted to protect my daughter. I wanted to protect BK. When we first met, it was like she didn't know me or my story at all, and it was like oh, good, don't ever post about me, that's cool. And I was
don't wanna
like,
be judged.
sweet, that's awesome. So it just kind of, it was like easier to not post and write anymore.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know how to put into words what I was feeling and what was going on, and then trying to date, and I didn't want to tell everyone that I'm dating when I was dating, you know?
Right.
Because it was like, then that means the story's over, or I'm over Kim, or whatever. So anyway, it's something that we've needed to talk about, and she's like, hey, this guy I used to know has a podcast about how to remain engaged as a couple, and that's kind of what we're going through right now in our relationship. We don't have all the answers or anything like that.
Well, so many people have said, Traegan, tell me what's going on. Like, are you good? What's going on in your life? Update us. Because they were so public. And he did move a lot of people, and he did help a lot of people. And I think that's one big thing I've learned tonight is I turned to him and I'm like, you gotta get moving back on social media, because sharing hard things that we're going through helps people.
Yeah.
It helps pick people up when they are drowning. And he did that a lot for people. And going quiet in that moment, that's what he needed, but I think it's time to pick it back up.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think it's really hard too, like within grief and within loss, especially when you're doing it public. It's easy for people to put expectations on how you grieve, or perceptions on how they think you should be grieving, or when it's time to move on, or when it's time to fall in love again, right? So I can totally see where that was hard for you. And then also, from what I understand about your journey, is so much of your life was revolved around Kim's cancer, and revolved around her beating that, or whatever that looked like. And then when she passed, it was kind of like, well, who are you?
Yep.
Yeah.
I went through that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
My name on Instagram was, hey, you're Kim's husband.
Whoa.
Because we would
For
I'd
real?
be walking.
Yes.
That's what it was. Well, that's what I made it
Oh,
as
okay.
a joke, because
Yeah.
anywhere
That's what
we'd
people would
go,
say.
Yeah.
You're
people
Kim's
would stop
husband.
us to talk to her, and if I wasn't with her, people would stop me and go, "Oh, hey, you're Kim's husband."
Yeah.
And so it happened so many times that I was like, "Hey, I'm going to change my name to Hey, you're Kim's husband." That's how everyone addresses me. And so I did that. And after she had died, and for a while, I was like going through therapy and talking with the therapist, and he was like, "It's time to." I think you need to. He wanted me to take a break from social media. He said, "I think we need to take a break, and we need to focus on Traegan." And Kim has been your every waking moment for the last little while, last several years. So let's take a break until January. This was like October. Let's take a break till January. If you feel like you want to jump back into everything, writing a book, writing workbooks, and writing things that are going to help lift other people, you're going to need to be up here to help lift other people, and you need some lifting right now. So let's focus on you. And so that's what the initial pullback was. But
Wow.
yeah, so I changed my Instagram name to Traegan White. Very clever, but I was like, no, names mean a lot, and if I'm always going to be somebody who is a person that is known as in your relationship with someone else, then I don't have an identity.
Right.
And that had gone, so
Yeah.
I was ready
Right.
to
Yeah.
pick back up. But it wasn't ready to start posting, but ready to like take control of my life and be me, you know?
Yeah.
So
I love that. Well, this is a great space to have that conversation, right? And I think like one of the things we've talked about a lot of the judgment, right? The judgment of where people think you should be at or think you should be feeling. And it is this hard feel of you don't owe anyone anything, right? Like she didn't have to say a word to anyone out there about what happened. But since she started sharing because she knew how much power it could have and that it could help people, then it's like, well, now tell the full story, right? When we started our first few episodes and going through, it was like, no one needs to know the details of the worst day of her life. But if you're going to stand up and share and be able to do that, you don't want question marks or people wondering what if, like, wear it on your sleeve, you know? And so Awesome. And thank you for coming on, for being willing to do that. BK for giving him the push, right? And so let's start here. Typically we start with like, how did you meet? But we want to kind of find more like, where were you both at emotionally, mentally, spiritually when you met? And let's start with BK. We don't really know you yet, right? So give us a little background to you and where were you at in your life when you meet this guy?
I was dating a lot. I was going on a lot of first dates, and I was playing volleyball 4 times a week, and just kind of doing me. Just, when you don't have any responsibility other than yourself, you're really happy.
Yeah. And single, never married, no kids, right?
I've been married.
Okay.
I've been married, but volleyball has been kind of my way to escape anything negative, and it's really been grounding for me going and playing volleyball. I played volleyball my whole life. I love it. But yeah, I was really happy. I was hanging out with friends and just in a really good space, I don't know.
Which is, I think, where people try to get after divorce, right? It had been a couple of years, and she wanted to, meet herself or rebuild herself or whatever. So she was. I don't want to speak for you.
But I was looking.
Yeah,
Right.
you were actively dating. Yeah.
I was intentionally dating, and going on a lot of first dates, and some nights creating a love story in a night, and then see ya.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned in our phone call, because we talked before the show, but you mentioned that you have a history of loss yourself, and you've gone through things, and you have your own challenges that you've overcome and that you're working through on a day-to-day basis. Like, it's not just Traegan's loss and Traegan's things, it's you have your own stuff too.
Yeah, no, the same year he lost his wife, I lost my sweet sister.
So in 2020, so actually, let's give dates for everyone. What year did the two of you meet?
2022.
2022, okay? And in
April Fool's.
April Fool's Day.
Wow.
All right.
First date.
Okay. So you meet in 2022, and Kim passed in 2020.
Valentine's Day of 2020.
What?
Okay.
So right before
Love day.
Yeah, that's recent.
my birthday was 2 days later, and then COVID hit about 2 weeks
Whoa.
later,
Okay.
3 weeks later, where they started.
Okay.
closing
Okay,
down.
so we're going to come back there. There's your timing. And then when did you lose your sister?
December 12th.
Of 2020. So both of you, without knowing each other at this point, go through major losses, and you were tight with your sister, right?
Yeah. She has a very interesting story herself, but something happened to her terribly when she was 14. She was raped when she was 14. And it really, she went down a path of drugs and prostitution and a lot of damaging stuff, and was an addict her whole life. And went in out of therapy and couldn't do it, and got back on the pill, and she finally decided to get clean, and she found God and went through her whole journey. That must be, I've never been an addict. I don't really have that, but I can't imagine how hard it must be being mentally 16, but being 28 years old, going and getting clean, knowing you had to then enter the world mentally 16. Like, how scary is that? And she was clean 4 months and then died in a car accident.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the only thing that I can really attach that to is, whatever spiritual being is out there, is like, okay, enough. You did your job, you did your work, you asked for forgiveness from every single person in your life that you wronged, and come back to me now. So that's what's made it okay for me to get through that. 'Cause
I've
I
actually
was
heard of
angry.
that.
I was so angry. I'm like,
Yeah.
are you serious?
Yeah. I've heard of that being a thing.
Yeah.
So she gets clean, goes through that. You lose her in that way. And how did your grief look like after that? How did you go through all of it?
Sorry, I'm shaking so bad. Give me a second.
You're good.
I couldn't breathe for a long time. You know, you see someone go through something so terrible and it affects their life in such a way that you want to do something but you can't. I'm shaking so bad. Thanks, baby.
That right there is what this show's all about.
I had a really tough time, and my other siblings didn't, and I didn't really understand. I didn't understand it.
They grieve differently.
Now that's what I see on the outside. I don't know what happened behind closed doors, right? We're not very close. When my sister died, it blew our family up. We didn't get closer. We got more distant. To where I have a relationship with my mom, but I don't have one with any of my siblings. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad, you know. Everyone grieves differently, and then you get angry, and you don't understand why people are saying certain things. And anyway, it's tough. Loss is tough. Losing people you love is tough. They're no longer here. You can no longer touch them. You know, it's hard.
Yeah. You know, I think it's really unique that both of you have gone through incredible loss. And both of you have been able to, I don't know, be there for each other in certain ways that maybe other people can't or don't have the opportunity to.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, dating is hard as it is. I didn't want to date. I mean, I did when we were dating. It was like, and before that, when I started actually, okay, I'm going to date.
Never wanted to get married.
Yeah.
Again.
I didn't.
And at the
yeah.
time, how old was your daughter? So you and Kim had a daughter.
She was 7 when Kim died.
Okay.
Yeah.
9
and
when I met her.
Okay.
When they met, yeah. But I wasn't like, I don't know, I forgot where I was going with that, but I didn't want to, I wasn't looking to date. Hensleigh, when I first started to date, it was like 6 months after she told me at one point, Dad, I think I'm ready to have a mom again.
Oh.
And that was about 5 months after Kim had died.
Wow.
And like I said, about a month after, maybe 2 to 4 weeks after, like COVID was running rampant, and then it hit hard. And so we were like locked in the house. We were just her and I, and it was already really hard. We were trying to just, you know, this might have been one of the mistakes I made, but I said to her, like, I've got you, you've got me, we're a team. We're gonna get through this. We are going to survive this, and we are gonna be happy again, but we're a team, okay? And later, years down the road, a couple years down the road, I realized how elevating her to an equal status with a parent. Like, we are teammates, we're not coach and player, we're
It's very
teammates.
hard for
And you need to switch that.
Yeah, and to me, it was something, that's just kind of where my heart was, like, I don't think I could do this alone right now. I don't know if I want to keep going if I don't know if I would have. I was never suicidal or anything, but I was just so down and so depressed that I was like, I don't need to get up. And COVID was going, I didn't have to work or anything. So we slept downstairs in the basement on the couch, and I'd wake up sometimes 4 a.m, and she's sitting there with tears running down her eyes because she hasn't closed her eyes in like hours and just watching television. And days and days and maybe weeks where I would go upstairs to get us food, come back down, and we would just, and no one could come by and visit, like people were dropping stuff off, but it was
the
just,
sun was going up and
Yeah.
down and up and down.
but
Yeah.
after a long time, she goes, she's a little precocious, dealing with, like, Kim was diagnosed when she was 18 months old.
Oh.
So she was, we took a different approach, I think, and we like, I didn't know how to navigate. I'm like, let's just be honest, let's tell everything. And we tried to be age appropriate, but I mean, she was like praying when she could first talk, please help mom not die. every prayer. I hope mom doesn't die, things like that. And so it was really hard. So for her to say, I think I'm ready to have another mom, you need to find a girlfriend. And I remember I just started bawling because I'm like, why did you just say that? Like, I was not there yet. And she was ready to have a feminine presence as opposed to this gruff, grumpy, probably at the time, guy. And I'm just, so I started thinking about it, and it took a good 10 months before I started like thinking about it even.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting point that you bring up, right? Of like, okay, you were both each other's person to lean on, but you both weren't okay. Like, you were both empty. And so in that spot, and I think that's something that's common for people that are grieving, of the people you're grieving with are also in that, whether it's a family member, whoever it might be. And so to think like you were each other's people, but neither of you were really in a position to be someone else's, right? And did it feel like a bit of a teeter-totter of like who was lifting who? And
Us two?
no, you and Hensleigh in that moment.
Oh yeah. She in a lot of ways she's 10, 15 years older than what she is, because she's dealt with the idea of death from a very early age, and her mom not being able to pick her up because she was so weak and sick. Like, we got to the point over and over again where we just had to have somebody come live with us and stay with us to help, because she couldn't get up and make her food. She was 90 pounds, and we moved homes because the home we were in had 3 levels, and she had to go between all 3 of them. And we needed a rambler so she didn't have to be hiking stairs all day. But Hensleigh learned to go check on her, and there's some really cute videos of her on Kim's Instagram about that, like where she would come in and check on her and ask if she's okay and stuff, and what can I get you? And she can barely talk, but she wants to get food for her. And after Kim died, she came in a lot in the mornings where I was still in bed, wasn't sure she was awake, and she comes in with a tray of food. And
You know, a TV dinner tray?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's many pictures of just the TV dinner tray filled with like
a pork chop and
and
some cereal and ice cream
whatever
all
she
in
could
one.
find and put together. Hey, Dad,
Oh.
It's really, I think she probably helped me more than I helped her. A lot of times, when I think back to Kim, I think a lot of happy times, sometimes some bad times and things. When I think of Hensleigh in relation to everything that happened, I lose it every time. Because she was so young and so little, and telling me, come to the couch, Dad, it's okay, it'll be okay. And I lay down right here, and she'll sit down, and would put my head on her lap and just sit there and say, it's okay. And I would be bawling my eyes out, because I didn't want to hide my grief from her. I didn't want her to think I was okay. I wanted her to know I wasn't okay.
Good for you.
So I didn't go cry in the bathroom or anything.
Good for you.
And I would ask her, you're missing Mom? I'm missing Mom right now. And she took care of me more than a kid should have to.
Yeah.
At 7, I wasn't okay. And it wasn't something that I expected to not. There's a lot of this story, and I want to talk about us, but there's a lot between Kim and I that was, after she first got diagnosed, it was bad. It was dark. It was toxic between us. And I thought I was doing everything that I could possibly do to help, and I wasn't, or I was told that I wasn't, or whatever happened early on. We didn't know how to navigate it, and it took years. I mean, she had cancer for 6 years in the end, and it was the last 2 years before she died where we were falling back in love. And healing all the wounds that had happened before that. And so at the end, it was, 6 years of that, it was really, really hard and dark after a while, but Hensleigh had learned to be a good caretaker too, I guess. I'm very absent-minded, so if I lose my track
you're
a few
doing,
times,
you're doing
that's
wonderful.
normal for
You're
me,
doing
okay?
wonderful.
It's maybe trauma, but I'll lose track right in the middle. I'm like, okay, where was I going with that? Holy cow. So anyway, it was Kim and I, I was talking about how our relationship was really rough.
Sorry, I have a question. Did
Yeah.
that occur because of the cancer or after the cancer, or was that already a factor and the cancer just brought that and highlighted it?
It made it worse, definitely. It was, she voiced to me, so this isn't something that, it's really hard to talk about those hard times because I don't want to say something that she can't be here and defend herself. So I really try to stay away from that, but the stuff that she would openly talk about was, she was jealous because she knew she was dying. When she was diagnosed, they said, you've got a couple of months to live. And Hensleigh was 18 months old. We had just moved to Utah. And they said, this kind of cancer is really fast, really aggressive. You won't last the year, basically. And so she admitted to me and other people that it was like, that's not fair, that we're this young and I'm gonna die, and at some point you're gonna meet someone else and another woman is gonna raise my child. 2 children. We found out she had cancer when she was pregnant. And that was really dark for her. And the problem.
How could it not be?
Yeah.
Absolutely, but to me, I developed this toxic positivity. I was an optimistic person already, so every appointment it's gonna be all right. At least it wasn't this. We're okay still. And it's not okay. Quit saying it's okay. You don't know it's gonna be okay. You don't know anything. It's not gonna be okay. Stop saying it's gonna be okay. And so, that's like an example of what I'm like, okay, so I quickly just stopped talking. I didn't want to. She would call me and tell me something else just happened, another doctor's appointment, and I just, okay. And then me being my snarky self, what do you want me to say? I don't know what to say. I want to encourage you, but I'm afraid you'll come at me for being positive. I don't want to not say anything because I want to show you I care. And so it quickly became we couldn't talk about stuff. And then she got mad at God. And God, why would you do this to me? And so, but it would come out, any small problem became a very big problem. And and to me, I'm like a dumb dude going like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I didn't even know to listen and say, I'm gonna listen because you need someone to listen. I didn't know any of the, you don't want me to fix it kind of stuff. That's what I do.
You hadn't read that book yet.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Why were you even telling me if you don't want me to try to fix it or make it better? And so I probably overcorrected and then found a happy medium. And, after years and people talking to her and we kind of slowly came back to each other, and things were really good the last 2 years. That's where we were going with that. We weren't expecting her to die. She had 50 plus surgeries, and every time came out on top. Every time they're like, you got another 2 months to live. That's it, for sure. And then we would try an experimental immunotherapy, and all of a sudden we'd go in and there was nothing, 0 cancer. And we're like, hallelujah, we did it. It just took some faith and some trying, and here we are. And we go on a backpacking trip, come back, and she starts coughing, and her lungs are completely full. Mm-hmm. So they need another surgery, take out half of this lung, most of this lung, took out the liver. She had her inferior vena cava was made out of Gore-Tex. She started to limp because they damaged some nerves when they were going in through her femoral artery for something, like so many problems. And every time she came out okay. And so thought she was gonna be okay. This was one more surgery. It's like, we were scared, but we're gonna be okay. And so it hit us not like an illness that we're expecting it to go away or expecting it to take her. We knew that logically, but we're like, oh, this is Kim. You guys don't know Kim. Like, they sent her home on hospice, and it's like, she's like, no, just go to work. Go to work. We need to pay for all this, right? So go to work, and we thought she would be fine. And I got an emergency call and had to come home, and like it was like a sudden death. It wasn't like to us, it wasn't like, okay, now we're here, this is happening. We thought she would bounce back. So it was really out of nowhere for Hensleigh and I, not out of nowhere, but we didn't think it would happen.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for sharing all that. I think it's interesting you talk about the diagnosis, and at the end of the day, she was the one diagnosed, but it does happen to both of you, and it happens to your relationship, and you had opposite ways of dealing with that, right? At least initially or at different phases. And we often, the people that we take it out on, or the ones that we vent to, or the ones that sometimes we show our worst selves to, are the ones that we feel the most comfortable with, right? The safest with, that's home. And so I appreciate you being willing to talk about that. There's obviously a lot of positives that are seen, and the goodness and the great that's there, but I think it's also kind of comforting to people out there to know that those that are winning the battle on grief and what you see on social media or, and whatever it might be, the hard moments are there too, right? And so, and then you talk about very openly your hard moments of where you were at in grief after she passed. You're now in the same situation, and you two meet. Did you know what he was going through when you show up on a first date?
No, and I probably wouldn't have gone on that first date. If I'm being real.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot, and it's really heavy. And I don't think I was equipped. And even looking back, I definitely wasn't equipped to step into something like this. Like, I was a late bloomer. I was really late to the game to mature. And, walking into a family with such heavy, heavy, heavy grief with Hensleigh and with him, and then separate, and then my own stuff. Sometimes, we find ourselves in this big collision of like, what do we do? Because her grief and my grief and his grief and all of our different traumas, we kind of don't really know how to handle those at some points of time. So it was interesting, but going back to your initial question, that where was I, but how did we meet? We met on a dating app.
Yeah, love it.
And he didn't include all of that in his profile.
No.
Yes, you didn't lead with that.
I didn't know if it would scare people away or pull them in. It's like, if they knew Kim, they would be like, So I just wanted to, I'm my own guy still.
But it's so interesting because, when you like swipe or whatever, you see a face and you see some things that they write. When I saw his photo, I like paused and I had a moment of like, I know this person. I don't know this person, but I know this person. Have you ever had that experience before?
Yes.
Where it's just like, I know you. We've never met before, but like our spirits know each other. And I've shared that with him, and he's just like, okay.
So you felt that immediately with him, not through his profile.
I saw his photo.
Oh, through his photo.
His photo. I like paused and I like stared at it for a minute.
Aww.
And I remember this moment. I remember.
And it wasn't just the jawline.
No, but that is a great jawline.
Easy. Got Gaston over on the other side over there.
No, but I just remember
Bare-chested
staring at this photo and thinking, like, I need to know this person. Like, I know him. Like, I need to. Anyway, we went on a first date, and he opens the door, and I'm like, you are so cute. And I just, like, had this smile all night. I just remember. It's just
So you
like,
had an instant electricity with
through
him.
a photo, and then
Yeah.
I see him in person, and I'm like, I love you.
Oh.
It was mutual. But the I love you was like, oh, I could see that happening.
Wait, you told him I love you on the first night? I'm like, for a second thinking that happened.
She texted me after that night. She was like, I think I could fall in love with you or something like that.
Oh.
I was like,
It was a great night, you know.
Yeah, so how did you feel? I mean, and how much had you been dating prior to this date?
I'd been dating for at least like a year.
Okay, so you'd been out on dates. Wasn't like it was the first one back in the game, or okay.
No. But it was, I had just gotten to the point that I was enjoying dating, though.
Okay.
Not forcing myself to go on dates. Because I'd had to have a nanny and like not a live-in, but like when I would leave, she would come and stay there with Hensleigh, get her ready for school and go. And at that point, I was working in Nevada, like 4 hours away, so I'd have to drive. So anyway, that was...
He definitely wasn't ready for me when I arrived.
No, I was okay going on a
his
date
life.
every once in a while. Yeah.
Got it.
So-
What did the dating process look like then?
Well, the first person I dated after Kim was somebody that I knew before, and her parents I didn't even know lived in my neighborhood, and they
lived
were
like 4 houses down.
yeah, and they were ushers at Kim's funeral, and stopped me and said, "Hey, you know our daughter from college, from undergrad. We were friends." And so that was the first. They were like, they didn't try to like set us up or anything, but that's what planted her in my mind. Like I knew her freshman in college.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I started dating. So it was easy because I knew the person.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to go meet people. And that was hard. But it was really hard. Like even like kissing, the first kiss, I felt like I stopped and I had to like stop and say, I'm sorry. I felt like I was cheating. Like, and it had been 8 months, 9 months after she had passed away. And it was really weird. It was hard. It felt wrong. It felt wrong to date. So it was 2 full years. 2 full years later that we met, and it felt real. It felt good. We obviously had a bunch of our issues together, but it felt right. Like we could joke together the same.
Yeah.
We could talk
that
all
X
night
factor
long.
that you
It
look
was-
for in somebody, you know.
Yeah.
We just sit out on the couch or by the fire talking for
Hours. We can talk forever.
Yeah.
Is that
I
apparent?
love that.
Still.
I'll shut up. You keep
Yeah.
talking. She's like we talk about deep stuff too, like existential things. We talk about religion, which for me has changed a lot. My belief system is completely changed, and that's another thing that made me not want to share, I guess, on the tangent, is that Kim was very one way and very straight arrow, I should say, and I was always kind of this jagged line. But afterwards, like just things that happened, experiences that happened to me, everything changed for me. The way I lived.
The way you look at life, right?
Live people.
Yes. Yes.
Everything changed. Everything felt different. And I questioned everything. Why did I decide to do this? Why have I always done this?
Yeah.
Well, it's
I don't
crazy. The timing of Kim's passing being around COVID. That's a time where the whole world was questioning everything.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the two of you, I'm curious, so you're going through big life changes, perspective changes in grief. You just meet this hot guy with a great jawline, right? And you're just like this, and you're in love on night one. I know, I'm teasing you. But on that, like, when did he open up about where he was at in life and what he was going through, and how did that affect you, like, hearing that first time?
You know, we dug in pretty deep the first night, and I think that's why I felt so strongly about him, because people just don't do that. It takes a lot of courage to kind of open up and, you know, fillet your heart open and share what's going on, especially when you don't know how people are going to react. Like, I had no idea. Like, there is a full-blown documentary out on this girl. You
Yeah.
know, like she was a big deal here in Utah. You know, when we were in another state on a hike and people recognize him and stop us on the trails. You know, for a long time people would go up and hug him when we're skiing. You know, they recognize him with his goggles up and he's in his full-blown suit and just his face, or at a grocery store.
Yeah.
It was really intense
Yeah.
at first, you know, and people would say, you're Kim's husband, and I'm like, no, not anymore, you know, like
Yeah.
He's
once
mine.
upon a time,
Yeah.
you know, like someone even said that after we got married, and I'm like, he's my husband,
Yeah.
you know, and so it's been a little weird for me to still honor her and that part of his life, but then also honor mine,
Right.
my current situation.
You've mentioned something on our call before this interview, and you said it was difficult feeling like you're living in someone else's shadow.
Yeah. You know, I think in a sense I kind of always will. You know, she will always be there. She's Hensleigh's mom, and it's
And there's a lot more to the story than most people know and than what you can even talk about.
yeah, and I know that side of the story, and that's what's hard is I'm still learning. Let's just say I'm still learning to like love and honor her with everything that I know, and how this man was gutted, because I love this man, you know, and I show love very differently than Kim showed love to him. And I just didn't understand it. This like really great man, you know, why wasn't he honored and cherished by her? You know? And so I've really had to dig in deep those moments where I need to love her and I need to honor her because of Hensleigh and for Hensleigh.
Mm.
Because it's important for me
Yeah.
to find that.
Yeah.
And I'm still figuring it out.
Sure.
It hasn't been a pretty journey for me doing that, because there's a lot of anger there too. You know, like kind of. I don't know if anyone will understand this, but it's kind of like I wish I was there to protect him during that time where he was treated so poorly. You know, like, don't treat him like that.
Sure.
And so it's hard. It was hard for me, and it still kind of is at times, you know.
This
Yeah.
still comes up. Like we've been together for 3 years now, and it's still something, because it's so difficult to navigate. It's so hard to say. I mean, she hears only my story. She doesn't get to hear the
Sure.
words from Kim.
Which,
her
by the
side.
way, is true for any divorce or any ex,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you're always, when you're dating, just hearing one side.
Yeah.
Of course, you're more loyal to your
Yeah,
partner,
but it's more than
right?
that. Like,
But for
I
sure,
hear
this
his
is an
story.
extreme.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
hear her family story, and I hear his family story, and I hear her friend's story, you know, and they all kind of sound the same.
We're pretty self-reflective, I think. She's the first to say, look, yeah, I got divorced. This is what happened that was the last straw that broke the camel's back. But I can see now like how I was not treating him right. I can see now how I helped push this relationship to the point where whatever happened could happen, right?
Yeah.
And so she's very self-reflective and can see that, and I can do that too, and I can tell my story and say, but that's what was coming from my mind and my experience. You know how stubborn I can be. She could see me being stubborn, and that's why she could be like, oh my gosh, you're not trying to help. You just want to look like you're trying to help or something. I don't know, but like there's a whole other experience that Kim had that was, I would probably look at myself and go, oh gosh, I didn't handle that well.
There are
Ooh.
times where I've given,
She's like,
you know, what I've heard came with some extreme grace because
because of how I am. And
Yeah.
I get that. I understand. But I still, that doesn't discount my experience where and so being so close, even before we were married, we had talked about those things because going through therapy, my therapist helps me see that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I do that. That's why I act like that, because I was so scared to be criticized or so afraid to think that my very best effort isn't good enough and that I can't do anything to help this situation, that I slowly would withdraw and become cold and everything. And so that's something she has to deal with now. And so she'll get feelings about, gosh, I wish this, your previous relationship, I have to fix you because of what your previous relationship did. That's kind of how it comes out, maybe. And so it's a complete struggle, but if I can say anything about us, how to remain fully engaged, it's like we love each other so deeply, and I'm so fulfilled in different ways than I was fulfilled in my previous relationship. And it's beautiful.
This is like a great love, right?
It really is.
Like
We've gone through hard stuff, and we still fight
I've
for
loved a lot of people. I love and I love people. I've never felt love like this ever before.
Yeah.
And it's a really special thing to experience that. Like, I didn't even think it existed. You know, you love, but then when you love, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
I do.
It's different. It's like, wow, like you want everyone to experience it. And a lot of people go through life and don't ever experience that kind of love for somebody.
And you guys just had a baby.
We just had a baby.
Aww.
10 months ago. And she is pure magic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm old to be having a little baby, so it's like it's harder. But she's an angel. We were blessed with an angel like this. She looks like an angel. She acts like an angel. She's just happy constantly, and somebody out there knew that my energy levels after life and where I'm at now are like down here, right? And so this so far, is this wood?
Yep.
So far, she's the easiest baby. She sleeps, she laughs, she eats.
She poops.
She sleeps some more. She poops, and they're nice and easily cleansable. Like she even her poops just like, yeah, that kind of stinks, but not bad. She's just like a perfect little thing. So we're so happy. And Hensleigh is like turned a corner. At first, she was kind of like not knowing how to, ew.
No,
Ew. She's
With the
like,
baby?
scary how
we were like worried, like this is a
there was
baby,
hate.
you know.
It was scary.
Oh.
But
Really?
she was just I think she was just feeling.
Let's talk about Hensleigh for a minute.
Yeah,
I mean, first off, how did she handle all of a sudden when the two of you were together? And I mean, she asked for a mom, but then all of a sudden the reality of that's different, right? So those two transitions in Hensley's life, I'm curious.
Yeah, so to go back to what he was saying before of like their team,
Oh yeah. I forgot where.
it posed a really big problem for me. Not a problem, but something that would constantly come up because I then wanted to be his partner.
Yeah.
And there was no longer a parent-child relationship. It was more like two people that are this team.
She had to grow up so fast.
She had to grow up so fast, but because of that, you know, when a woman comes in or has children, you want boundaries and you want rules of the home and you want things to kind of look a certain way. And it's not like I came in and wanted to change everything, but there were things that you see as a woman that you're like, we gotta make some boundaries with that. That maybe not be appropriate, you know?
And you were stepping into mom role
And I was
to
stepping
a
into mom,
soon to be teen
you know,
age
and-
girl.
Yeah, and that's been a really big learning curve because I was not equipped to do that. You know, I never babysat as a kid. I never changed a diaper. I never, you know, like I was a late bloomer. Like I just wasn't, I don't think ready at the time to do that. But I put those big girl pants on, and I committed to it, and it's been ugly and beautiful and all of the above. Like we have experienced all of the emotions, all of the experiences, and
Yeah, it's hard. It's just hard to know. I've said this like 14 times, I think. Like you don't know how to navigate. Like there's no book written on that, on how to go through this. There's no book written on like, okay, how do we? I mean, there's books on integrating families or blending families and things like that, but there's nothing out there to help you. In my own heart and conscience, how do I express love and respect for my child's mom, who's not here, and honor her because she deserves it. She was amazing, strong. Were there negatives? Yeah, but someone could say a lot of negatives about me, but it was hard. I don't want to explain too much because I don't want to explain something that was hard for me to overcome that puts her down. There's no way to talk about that. And then to share it on social media, it's not, you don't get over it, like was already said, you don't get over it. And what I said, and it was kind of like what you said, there's like a box and a ball, and the grief is the ball. And as you go through life, your box gets bigger and the ball is in the box.
Right.
And it hits more often when it's the same size as the box. It's like hitting on all sides.
Right.
So you're feeling grief 100% of the time, all the time.
Right.
As you move forward and you read and you learn and you live life, that our box is getting bigger, our life's getting bigger, and that ball's still in there the same size, but it's going dink, dink, dink. Every once in a while it's hitting, and then once your box is huge, it's hitting into other stuff, and you don't feel it as often, but when it hits, you feel it just as strong as you ever did. And there's no way to do that and honor BK and everything that she deserves to be lauded for on social media. It's like I don't want to desecrate this.
Wow.
I don't want to desecrate what Kim and I had by saying, I'm good, I'm happy, I don't think about that anymore. Like that's insulting almost to me. So you freeze up and you just say, yeah, I'm just not going to do it. I don't want to navigate through that. I don't want to. We got criticized for being happy and saying stuff, and I just got so like this is something that everyone's going to have something to say about. So I just have stayed quiet.
A lot of opinions.
Yeah.
Everyone's got opinions, right?
And if they're not positive, just keep them to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just hurtful, and it's not necessary.
Yeah. I love one of my favorite phrases from Walt Whitman, and he says, "Be curious, not judgmental." I think that's one of the themes of this show, right? And,
For sure.
I think your story, one, thank you so much for being willing to share. Like, you're saying you hadn't shared on social media for a while, and then you say, somehow you felt comfortable enough to get up here and talk about this. Like, thank you, right? But everyone's situation in life has more elements than anyone could ever imagine.
More
right?
complexities.
Yeah, more complexity. And so you share your story and the dynamics. It's like, if I was taking notes right now on like the dynamics that are interesting, they're so long. And so there's no point in making a judgment. There's no point in making a projection because you really just don't know. And all you can do is try to connect, try to be real. And I see in both of you your desire to do that, right? And it's hard because, like, with connection, I always say, so many people feel like they don't connect with each other anymore, right? And to me, you cannot connect with another person until you connect with yourself. Yeah. If you connect with another person, you're not connected to yourself, then that's just some mask or some role, and it's not a true connection at the end of the day, right? And I feel like both of you have gone through the process to find who's in here, and it's very admirable to say, I'm not comfortable being ready to be seen out by the world if I'm not okay with this connection first, right? And then obviously the next connection is with each other, with your relationship, with your marriage, with Hensleigh, your family, right? That dynamic of what that looks like. We're stepping into the same thing, right? Like I have a little girl that in our home is treated as my own, but there's another man that's completely in the picture, and that's just dynamics. And there she is. Hi, Mars, right? And so anyway, I say that because I feel like you both are on the early steps now of having refound a piece of yourself, have found together who you are as a partnership, as a unit, as a family, and now get to kind of dip your toe back into the world of, do I feel comfortable enough connecting with others? And guess what? When that happens at the beginning, it's not going to be perfect. Sometimes it might be messy, and some people might have opinions. People might leave, and people might go, who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
And also discovering your own story,
Yeah.
like your love story, your lives together.
And that's
It's been
a
awesome.
really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what keeps you going, right? Like, if you stagnate, then you're inevitably unsatisfied, right? Because neither of you are trying. So we really do have a growth mindset where, we date a lot. We do a lot of projects together. We do a lot of things together.
We have a lot of fun.
We have so much fun. It's like, when there's a problem, it's like, would I throw all of that away because I'm mad because of this? No, like we fill our life with so many fun things, and that might be something we have Kim to thank for, because she made me live a different way, where it's like, we only have a certain amount of time. We're doing this, and we made lists. We had a long bucket list of things that we wanted to do. We still live like that, I feel like.
And you wouldn't be you today if you didn't go through what you've been through.
Yeah, yeah. So she wouldn't have liked me before. We talked about that before. What if we met before? I don't know. Like, we probably wouldn't have liked each other, probably. Like,
Church going boy, probably not.
yeah. Well, I was kind of like, yeah. If you met me when I met Kim, I had just like started going to church, and meeting her was like, ooh, God's telling me something. Yes. So I kept going to church for 12 years of marriage with her. And so she wouldn't have liked that at all. And now she's more religious than I am. So we're evolving, and we have a very dynamic relationship where we have so many thoughts on so many philosophies and things. But I wasn't as open-minded before, and yeah, times in your life
I'm
too.
more
But
spiritual than religious.
more spiritual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's ask this. I'll finish with this question. I appreciate it. We got to wrap this up. But BK, tell me where you hope your love story goes from here.
Ooh, what a great question. You should have asked me that a while ago so I could think about it.
Some things are better spontaneous in the moment.
Where do I want my love story to go from here? You know, I would love me and Hensleigh to be closer. We have moments, I think more than moments, but when we're close. But when we're not close, it's really hard on everybody. We're really similar. We both have a fiery side. And we're both kind of staunch in our opinions, let's say. So I want that love story to look a lot better than I think it is with our love story. You know, I think just doing things to stay engaged with each other, like continue having fun.
Yeah.
And
having long talks.
long talks.
We always do.
Yeah,
Every night.
but, like,
We're up
continue.
late talking.
You know, and it's I don't know.
I want to be old and still going to concerts and like going to like a 5-day festival and like people going,
We love
why are they here? Like,
Yeah.
come back for the seniors concerts later.
Yeah,
Something.
I want to always like live life like a kid.
Yeah.
See the world like a kid. I don't want to lose sight of that.
Yeah.
You know, we're very playful. I'm very goofy. He's very goofy. I don't want that to ever leave.
Yeah.
You know,
I wanna grow up.
Just like the little things I don't want to leave. And you know, hard stuff happens and you have to deal with those hard things and hard seasons come. But I think if you wake up and still choose your person, I think, and sometimes you have to say, I choose you today. You have to voice it.
For sure.
You know, I choose you today.
Yeah.
I love you. I choose you. Even though right now I hate you. Like you suck right now. But I'm still choosing you even though you suck right now.
That should be our subline for the show. Fully engaged. I'm still choosing you even though you suck right now. I think that's it. All right. Well, we could go on this forever, and I want to continue these conversations. But thank you so much for coming on the show, being willing to share. And I hope that this is a positive step for you and opens new conversations and new healing. You have a gift?
I do. I actually left it on the table right there. Is there somebody who can hand it to me?
Hunter, will you grab a little necklace over here?
It's in that cute little black bag. I would like to give you a butterfly necklace, and so excited for you and your love story and your next journey, and yeah, just everything you've been through. And I hope that this necklace helps you feel close to your sister on the other side.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys, for everyone in the audience. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
I thought you were wearing heels. I'm like, you're so tall.
It's 6 foot barefoot.
Thank you.
I know. I'm like, wait.
Thanks, man.
Good
I
job,
wear
dude.
heels. I'm like,
I know it's hard.